In a muffled symphony of my footsteps echoing through the desolate streets, I could almost hear the ghostly whispers of life that once thrived here. The foreboding houses stood like silent sentinels, bearing witness to my solitary journey into the gaping maw of darkness that this neighborhood had become. I couldn't shake off the feeling of countless eyes observing me from the shadowy recesses, as if the very walls bore witness to my growing unease. The eerie silence was only broken by the faint rustling of wind, whispering secrets in a language long forgotten. There was no turning back now. Something primal within urged me forward, deeper into the forgotten corners where daylight seemed to fear to tread. I stumbled upon a house, its doorway ajar, as if beckoning me to unveil the secrets hidden within its decaying walls. My heart hammered against my ribcage like a frantic prisoner trying to escape. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, guiding my trembling hand to push the door open. A musty smell engulfed me, filled with the weight of years bearing witness to tales untold. As I ventured further, the whispers turned into murmurs, guiding me to a forsaken room where time itself seemed to have succumbed to the oppressive atmosphere. There, amidst remnants of a life once lived, lay a journal, its pages yellowed and brittle, as if holding on to the fragile memories etched in ink. I could feel the pulsating energy emanating from it, a beacon in the engulfing darkness. With every word that I read, the whispers grew louder, weaving a tapestry of horror and despair that enveloped the place. Stories of people who vanished without a trace, of shadows that danced in the moonlight, waiting to engulf the unwary. The lines on the pages seemed to move, alive with a dark energy that sucked me in, showing me glimpses of the hellish reality that this place harbored. I could hear my own breath now, coming in short, terrified gasps. A sudden noise snapped me back to the oppressive reality of the room. My heart felt like a frenzied beast in my chest, as a shadow flickered at the edge of my vision. It was closer now, an entity forged from the very darkness that engulfed this forsaken place. In a frenzy of fear, I left the journal, my legs carrying me faster than I thought possible. The house seemed to morph around me, hallways stretching endlessly, windows showing glimpses of distorted, nightmarish landscapes. The entity was now a palpable presence, a relentless pursuer in this game of cat and mouse. As I burst into the open, the streets seemed to close in on me, the buildings leaning menacingly as if eager to swallow me whole. The boundary between reality and the macabre tales within the journal blurred, my mind struggling to hold on to sanity as the entity drew closer. Playground ahead seemed to offer a semblance of sanctuary, a place untouched by the growing darkness. But as I entered, the swings moved ominously, as if pushed by invisible hands, the squeaks a symphony of impending doom. And there, amidst the rusted remnants of laughter and joy, it stood, waiting to engulf me into the shadows that had claimed so many before. My breath caught in my throat, the entity now a horrifying vision of twisted limbs and gaping maws, a grotesque parody of humanity. I could feel its malice, a dark vortex pulling me in, promising to drown me in an ocean of darkness and despair. As I stood frozen, unable to move, unable to escape, I realized that the stories were real, the horror alive and hungry. And as the entity reached out, a scream tore from my throat, echoing into the darkness, becoming one with the whispers that now claimed me, body and soul. I could feel it, the darkness, a relentless predator gaining on me with every heartbeat that thundered in my ears. The forgotten streets were no longer just an exhibit of decay. They were morphing into a labyrinthine nightmare, a gruesome gallery of horrors that clutched at my sanity with icy, unforgiving fingers. The moon cast grotesque shadows, twisted forms that danced with a sinister glee on the crumbling walls. My breath came in short, frantic gasps, the cold air stinging my throat as I stumbled forward, the ground seemingly shifting beneath my feet. I found myself in a forsaken playground. The skeletal remains of swings and slides loomed like monstrous entities in the darkness. Time hung suspended in a chilling tableau of moonlit metal and whispering winds that carried voices. No, not voices, but mocking laughter from unseen specters. My skin crawled, every instinct screaming at me to flee, to escape the impending doom that seemed to lurk in every shadow. But then it appeared. From the deepest, most suffocating shadows, it emerged, a figure shrouded in darkness, its true form elusive, constantly shifting and warping in the moonlight. A torrent of disjointed whispers accompanied it, a cacophony that buzzed and hummed with a dreadful urgency in my ears. I could feel its malevolence, a tangible wave of despair and fear that threatened to engulf me. I was rooted to the spot, my mind swirling in a vortex of memories and nightmares, unable to discern reality from the horrifying visions that now played before my eyes. It spoke, its voice a chorus of anguished cries and chilling laughter that reverberated through my very soul. Words twisted and distorted, echoing in my mind with a terrifying clarity. It taunted me, its phrases a labyrinthine maze of horror and despair that drew me in deeper, ensnaring my mind in a relentless grip of terror. Playground transformed before me, the rusted equipment morphing into grotesque creatures, their metallic limbs reaching out with a hunger that sent bolts of raw fear coursing through me. I felt an unseen force pulling at me, a dark vortex that sought to swallow me whole, to strip away my sanity and leave me broken and lost in this nightmarish landscape. With a surge of desperate energy, I tore myself away, my legs carrying me at a breakneck pace through the ever-twisting streets. The world around me blurred, a swirling maelstrom of darkness and haunting images that threatened to engulf me at any moment. I could hear it behind me, a relentless pursuit that echoed with the pounding of my heart. The boundaries between reality and nightmare were fracturing. The horrifying entity, a constant, gnawing presence at the edge of my unraveling mind. I plunged deeper into the nightmarish scape, every turn leading to more terrifying visions, every shadow a lurking menace that promised unspeakable horrors. The darkness was alive, a living entity that sought to consume me, to assimilate me into its twisted reality. And as I ran, the chilling realization dawned on me. The darkness was not just around me, it was within me, a creeping corruption that threatened to swallow my very essence, leaving me lost in a world of shadows, forever chasing the elusive light that flickered tantalizingly, just out of reach. The ever-growing darkness, the chill that clung to the night air, became my shroud, tendrils of icy breath intertwining with the heaviness that settled in my bones. The labyrinthine alleys had turned into gnarled veins of the monstrous entity that hunted me, every twisted path leading deeper into its clutches. Breath-ragged, I stumbled into a foreboding structure, walls stained with the tales of despair. A once vibrant place, perhaps, but now a mausoleum of nightmares. My heartbeat hammered in my ears, a symphony of dread composed in the most chilling notes. And then it appeared, sprouting from the shadows like the most gruesome of flowers. Its form was amorphous, a swirling mass of darkness and distorted faces, each wearing an expression of my own fear mirrored back at me 1,000 times. "There's no way out, Alex," the entity taunted, its voice a cacophony of whispers that clawed at my sanity. The alley stretched, distorting, bending, a grotesque carnival mirror that turned my frantic escape into a cruel joke. I pressed further, deeper, into the belly of the beast, the narrow confines suffocating me with an oppressive force. Each step became an eternity, a descent into a realm where time twisted upon itself, an infinite loop of horror. I am you, Alex. It jeered again, the surrounding derelict buildings echoing its malicious laughter. You cannot run from yourself. Images surged, unbidden and relentless, battering my mind with fragmented memories, twisted and darkened by the entity's influence. Faces of people I once knew transformed into grotesque caricatures, their screams melding with the grotesque symphony that played incessantly in this damned place. In the pulsating darkness, I could feel the fragments of my sanity slipping away, replaced by an ever-growing void, a chasm that threatened to engulf me, to erase all that I was and leave nothing but a husk in its wake. It was a dance of shadows and despair, a ballet of darkness, where I was both the dancer and the audience, trapped in a never-ending performance of my own tragic play. At the final moment, as the entity reached out with tendrils formed of my deepest fears, I understood the horrifying truth. This place, this entity, it was born of me, a manifestation of my own darkness, my isolation, my despair. In the end, there was no escape, no salvation. With a scream that echoed through the forsaken streets, I felt myself unravel, my essence pulled apart and absorbed into the living nightmare that surrounded me. As I became one with the darkness, the boundaries of self blurred and distorted. I was no longer Alex, the individual, but a part of a greater, horrifying whole. And in the final, cruel twist of fate, as my vision faded to black, I understood that I had become the very thing I feared, a shadow in the darkness, a whisper in the wind, a creature lurking just behind, forever chasing, forever hungry. In the void that engulfed me, I heard the distant, horrified screams of the next lost soul who wandered into my domain, and I reached out, hungry, ever hungry, for the cycle to begin anew.